What's that?
I said 3, 2, 1, go.
3, 2, 1, go. You already hit it, huh, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yep. Cheers to.
Hey,
We
this
got
is to 421, right?
this. Yeah, it's
Yeah, all right.
4:21. As of a half hour ago. I got water. I'm being good boy tonight.
Mm. My kids have a snow day tomorrow. I do not. I'll be going into work, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that snow is gonna be hitting. I can't wait. Because since I'm thankful enough to work from home, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and stare at the snow that I don't have to do anything with for a while and drink coffee.
Jealous.
uh, yeah, Strength Hammer 81, we did it. Thank you to all the new subscribers out there. Clearly, you're all liking the old world content we've been doing, and I've been enjoying doing it. Neil's been enjoying doing it. So is John and our Val and all the other guests we've had on recently, Dave. So yeah, thanks for listening to what two random bearded men have to listen to talk about
Hmm. Hmm.
for Warhammer. Because clearly we have a podcast and we have an opinion, so you should listen to us.
Obviously. What are
Yeah,
we talking about tonight, Chuck?
old
What is this
old world.
particular podcast? That's right.
Talking old world. Well, of course, we're talking old world. It's all old world all the time. No, not all the
It's
time.
all old world.
Well, that's my hobby. Won't be fully old world. But before we get there, we gotta get back to the moving and grooving. Neil, how's your fitness been?
Been pretty good. If you count skiing as much as I've been skiing. So,
Yeah, that's
although that
heck
my
yeah.
season may be over because when I finished up skiing, I tried to take my boot out of my bindings and it exploded in the negative 10 degrees that I was
Oh
skiing.
no.
The plastic said, "I give up. I've had enough," and just exploded.
Much like was it Mahomes' helmet on the Kansas City
Yeah, no,
game?
it was
It's
exactly
just
like that.
boom.
Actually, it was exactly like I just pushed down on it like I normally would to get on out,
Yep.
and off it went.
You're like, all right, that's next year's problem.
Right, right. So that's a $300 problem right there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, can't you just 3D print a new one?
Not out of resin.
No, no, okay. Okay. All right. I was just like, well, yeah, you only have resin printers. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, my fitness has been okay. I'm gonna get. I think yours has been better, honestly. I've been so busy with that GW project I couldn't talk about, which was shipped to Las Vegas Open and then very quickly delayed due to weather. So a lot of effort for who knows what at this point, which is mildly annoying.
Oh my god.
At least I got paid for it.
Oh my
Yay. But
goodness.
between that and
Well,
then work, kind of really ramping up, so the IRL stuff, um, my gym visits have been infrequent. I've been doing a lot of quick home workouts to get it in, but it's better than nothing. It's moving, so I'm not upset about it, but it's not anywhere near what I'm used to doing. Like as far as like going in, having like a nice hour and a half lift session, get that heart rate up a lot.
Mhm.
But hey, take what you can. I think tomorrow, assuming the snowstorm that's going to hit our areas doesn't close down the gym, I will walk up to the gym and go to the gym actually tomorrow.
Shovel other people's driveways. There you go.
Actually, yeah, actually, what was it? I think it was a couple days ago. We had like a first substantial snowfall. It was all day. I went out and shoveled in the morning, came back in for a work conference call, and I watched it. Like I wasn't paying attention to the call. I was just watching it snow suddenly very heavily because I had to go out and shovel again after that call. And I was just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're still getting there.
Mhm.
Say that then. I guess we usual. I'm trying to like. I have 1 week where it's not you and I forget our own format. Hobby is
Hobby
next.
is what we talk about. Yeah, that's what's
Yeah,
next.
what's your hobby been like, Neil? Let's get
Oh
into
my
that.
god. 3D printer goes burr.
Yeah, it has.
I did paint a wyvern, an orc on a wyvern.
Oh,
So
did I
cool.
see? Did you post a picture of that painted?
I did.
I
I
missed.
believe I did.
I'll have to go back and look. I missed it. I missed it. I'm
Oh my
sorry.
god, I've been a busy man. Yeah, it actually turned out pretty damn good. I think I did it in an hour and a half, maybe.
Did it take longer to print?
Oh yeah. Oh, but way longer to print. Yeah, way longer to print.
That's
That
fun.
bad boy was a 13-hour print, I want to say.
Wow.
So,
Well, you should probably tell the folks at home, because you last time you mentioned there was your secret Warhammer old world
oh yes,
project,
yeah, not
and
so
then
secret anymore.
I just said one comment to you. I was just like, I don't really like secret projects because like I was doing one and I still can't talk about it yet, and it's like it drives me crazy. So I just said that offhand, not to shame or do anything, just to be like, here's my opinion on that sort of thing. And you
I
immediately
am
just said, here's what it is. I'm telling everybody now. And I was just like,
right.
okay, like broke Neil easily.
I am simultaneously the best at keeping secrets and also the worst. And why I say that is I will keep the secret until I find out that it's okay to not have the secret anymore. If I'm given that permission, it's coming out immediately.
Oh, that's so
I will
good.
not wait 1 second. So, Chuck, you essentially gave me permission. So, yeah,
Yeah.
my secret project is I am building a Orcs and Goblins army for Old World, and I am traditionally. Well, I have dabbled in some dark elves from time to time. I have really
Hmm.
never been anything but high elves. So this is a new thing for me.
It's a chance to broaden your horizons. I like it.
Mhm.
Actually, not to get too much into my hobbies. I'm sure you still have plenty of hobby left to talk about, but had some dark elves appear in my home from a wonderful gentleman, John,
Mhm.
from out your way, John D. Um, Sent me a bunch of just dark elf models, and I some of it I kept for my own stuff, some of it I passed on to members of the club who needed it, who had a dark elf army. But I noticed there was probably about 10 or so. I'm like, I recognize these paint jobs. These are Neil paint jobs. I'm keeping these ones. I don't need them, but I'm keeping
Are
them.
you serious? How would John have my
I
dark elf?
I don't know. They looked exactly like your paint job of the ones when I bought dark elves from you long ago. It was only
I
10.
mean, it's been 8 years of trading models, so maybe who knows?
Yeah. So I was like,
I
just
sometimes I'll see it'll be like a shop. Like this is how many models Chuck you and I've painted.
yeah.
It's kind of hilarious. I'll see pictures from some shop. Like the last time this happened to me, it was like pictures from a shop in Canton, and it's just like somebody playing AOS. I'm like, that's my Phoenix. Some completely random guy I did not sell that to, and there it is.
Yeah, I swear they look like the same models you painted from the other ones I bought. So
Very well could be.
I just a little touch up on the scheme on a couple pieces to match it, but I didn't really do much to it, and boom, in the army it goes.
Mhm.
But yeah, please, what other hobby you been getting on lately? Because lots of printing.
Uh,
What else have you printed?
I've printed now in the last 2 weeks a lot. Let's just leave it at a lot. Let's just call it an army.
What kind of army? You can at least give us that
Okay, we
much.
are focusing on night goblins right now. Although
Ooh.
so my growing up, my first ever box, and what actually, if you don't count Battle Masters and Hero Quest, the first actual Warhammer based thing that I got was the fourth edition box set with Grom the Paunch v. Eltharion the Grim. And in that box, I'm sure we've talked about it as an ad nauseum on this channel before, but those were cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, I have the Eltharion. I
Yeah,
have the Eltharion. He's in my high elf army box.
and they're amazing. And the Griffin looks nothing like an actual Griffin on the
No,
cutout for some reason.
it's
Um,
so weird.
but I don't know what that's about. Never did. But I love that box set so much. If I could find the actual scenarios to play that,
Mm.
I would do that in a heartbeat. But that box is why I decided to go with Orcs and Goblins, because I wanted to make a Grom the Paunch focused army. Now I don't even know if Old World is going to have Grom the Paunch.
I don't think he's alive. Wait, it's either he's already dead or he's not alive. I think I heard. Well, I'm that's secondhand knowledge from somebody else who knows the Orc and Goblin time
Yeah,
setting more. Um,
yeah. And I very much know Skarsnik is not alive, so he'll not be helping the cause. But if all else fails, Grom the Paunch will exist as a Goblin Lord with 3 wolves on a chariot.
heck yeah, why not? I mean, yeah,
It's gonna happen.
people aren't out
What
there
are they
using their
doing?
Grom the Paunch in the old world. Like, as
Yeah,
just a
he will
random
be.
character? Go for it.
He'll be Grim the Slim.
Grim the Slim.
Okay,
Grim the
that'll be my
Slim.
goblin. Yes, his long lost brother. But anyway, so that is
Hmm.
actually um, finding that model and everything, and launched the whole kind of reignited the love I had of it, and having that model in my hand now just makes me so happy. I also have another kind of stand, and I used to have the original Eltharion the Grim, and I held on to them for quite some time, and then I got to the point where I'm like, hey, this is AOS now. This isn't really useful anymore. So, I'm gonna offload this. And um, at the time, this hurts me so much to say this, but I sold my entire high elf army. I had just gotten Archaon, the new Archaon model, and I sold my entire high elf army for Zinch models and paint to paint Archaon.
I mean, you could just left them in a box downstairs,
I could have done that, and I could
and
still have
then you'd still
all of
have
them.
all of them. That's
Yeah, I could easily rip those metal models off of their bases. Their feet would stay together.
yep, yep,
They
yep.
wouldn't go anywhere.
Well, I mean,
And
the good news is you have a new high elf army. It's mostly 3D printed, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They're fun sculpts.
it's like a half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you really want, I'm assuming when the high elves get our arcane journal treatment, they'll probably release some to buy, maybe some made to order. You could flesh
yeah.
out an army of it, and if Eltharion is a character that we get, because we don't know what characters we may get in our arcane journal,
Yeah,
if he's in there though, you better believe you could buy his
I
model
think.
again.
Yeah, I think I want, even with some of the cool 3D prints that I have and everything. I think I want a fully playable, fully GW old world army as well.
Yeah.
So when the high elves come out, that may those may find their way back onto my shelves. And I have maybe half the army, courtesy of you.
Sure.
That's fully GW. So it wouldn't take much to get to 2,000.
No, no,
So
absolutely not. I
and
mean,
I'll obviously be buying if I can get my hands on them the new whatever new model they put out for high elves that
oh,
will find its way to my
yeah,
house.
don't worry. I'll just be buy as much of that as I can.
Yeah,
Um, Holy
that's not even
shit.
a question.
Well, I mean, I can't wait for that. Honestly, and I can't wait for the shows we got coming up where we're gonna start deep diving into um, the army books because like I'm waiting.
Oh, I know,
We're a few days away from official release. Obviously, there's stuff out in the wild, content creators, stuff arriving early at some shops and all that stuff. Like, okay, whatever. Um, but boy, I can't wait to get my own copies of it. And I'm probably gonna be in Dallas for work when they arrive home, and I'm gonna be like,
Mhm.
but regardless, um, that's a lot of hobby, but can't neglect the gaming because there's been a certain Empire
Oh my
campaign
god,
thing
yeah,
that started. Yeah,
that happened since the last time we talked, didn't it?
it did for
So yeah,
both of us. So you do go ahead, talk about it.
we launched the map campaign. I actually have my second game of the map campaign coming up tomorrow night.
Nice.
So the way we do it was we do a club night. Then anybody who can't make it or games that don't get played, if you have extra games to play, that just has to happen sometime within the next month before we start the next games day. So I am playing shop owner Matt Farrell, a good friend of mine. He has just gotten his flesh eater quartz army together, so he was building it that night.
Ooh, old
So he was literally the plastic glue was drying on his models, and so we decided rather than try to squeeze the game in at the end of the night, we just wait for another night. So I
nice.
played my first game. I was attacked into my territory by orcs, particularly Iron Jaws faction. So they did not have their champion with them, and we played a scenario that was of my own kind of out of my own mind, and it's like a pitched battles kind of scenario where you're
Hmm.
scoring points for unit costs, and the objectives get you a certain amount of points as well, and this and that. And so there's three objectives, and they're set up on your deployment zone in the middle and on your opponent's deployment zone, and they go 1 point for yours, 2 points for the middle, 3 points for the end for your enemies. So actually, it wound up being a really fun game. I wound up getting down early. I gave him first turn, which is probably kind of stupid because he got on all the bigger scoring objectives and promptly threw the score way up. And then he was playing a pretty inefficient Iron Jaws army. He hasn't played a lot recently, and so he's starting to get back and learn his rules and everything. I have played a lot of my Nurgle army. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm
You,
good. I just know my rules
yeah.
and I know what they should be able to do. And he pushed in and just kind of bounced off of 20 plague bears. Just as I
Oh,
just kept on stacking up the defense on him, just stacking that D. You know how that goes.
yep. Get that D high.
Yeah, so I did win that game. So we held serve. Nobody took my territory from me, and now my next is my attack into Matt's territory. So we'll see if I can't push into the flesh eater courts a little bit and
Very
take one
nice.
from them. So.
Very nice. I mean that's going to be updates regularly on the show as we have our monthly meetups. So that's great.
Yep.
That's great. Any other hobby for you? Anything else going on?
List building. Does list building count? Of course it counts.
Oh, of course it counts, but we're going to use that sort of main topic. I'm assuming it's using the lovely old world army builder.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll save that for main content because that's been my life too. My hobby. So I finished the giant GW secret thing that I couldn't talk about. Like I said, promptly got it together in time, busted my ass, 310 models in 10 days painted. Dear God, don't ever do that.
That makes me laugh just even thinking about it, man. That's fucking nuts.
Especially, yeah, it's, oh, don't do it. I, whenever I can show it, I will. There's just some things on there that are can't be shown or whatever. So like once I can, I will probably do a video on it because I have pictures and all this fun stuff on it, and it was a fun challenge. But don't ever do it.
I hope you chronicled the journey.
I did. I didn't chronicle the weeks where I didn't do anything on it though early because it was like Christmas, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything during Christmas week.
I want to see the video of you in the fetal position sucking your thumb.
I wish I had time to do that. I did not have time to do that. But as I alluded to earlier, I got everything boxed up in time, even threw some snacks in for the crew, and shipped it off to LVO. And it was running late, and it was delayed probably because of weather. I don't know, but it's mildly frustrating that a lot of effort went into a box of stuff that may just have to sit in the box a lot longer than. So frustrating.
Oh,
but it's like
God.
Hey, whatever. Okay. That's part of that's why I don't think I could be a commission painter.
Yeah.
Even though I technically sort of was with that, even though it was just wasn't commission painting level. Whatever. I'm not gonna go into those details. Outside of that, you'd think after 310 models in 10 days, that'd be like, fuck this. I am not painting a thing. I'm not doing. Let me build. Let me do nothing. Let me just sit here and just absorb as much old world content as possible because like that timed up that it was all kind of coming out at the same time. And while that's true, I absorbed. I literally wake up, get my cup of coffee, and then the next sound in my ears, if it's not a work thing or my wife having a conversation with me, it's old world content from Square Base, Mountain Miniatures, Face Hammer, you name it. I think Vanguard Tactics just put out the new battle report, Tabletop Titans, like just as much as I can get. Great Book of Grudges, everything. So much. I have listened to so many reviews of armies and things, and like it's fun because it's all in my head now, and it's just like a big mix of craziness.
Now, content creators out there, can I just say,
bad
job on you.
Real quick, Neil. Technically, we're content creators, so you can't.
Other content creators who have the books in their hands, which we do not. Bad job on you. I need to see a full Orcs and Goblins review. I've found like 2. All right, that's not enough. I need more. There are people out there, Square-based, needs to get on that and give me my Orcs and Goblins goodness, okay? I need to know what's going on here, okay?
Listen,
this is not the same narrative, Neil, okay? I'm here to smash people's faces in the old world, all right? I'm not playing, all right? So I need to know what's good. I need to get rolling here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy the way the Square-based are doing their reviews, too. They're much more... Yeah, it's engaging. So very well done there. Trying to think, because like it's just all old world in my head right now. What else has been going on? Oh, I found. Oh yeah. So with 310 models done. Okay, cool. Let me take a break. Now I'm like, I feel like painting stuff for myself. let me
Hmm.
finally dive into this Living Cities of Sigmar army. And I thought when I talked to when Dave was on the show 2 weeks ago, um, I said like, you know what, I might just have this commission painted by a local friend, Bobby. He painted one of my 40K armies. I love the style, and I'm like, I bet he could do really good with this green. But I was just like, nah, I'm eager. Let's go. For some reason, I want to paint my own stuff, so I started painting it. I got my first hero done, which was like the marshal on foot and his little squire boy, to
Hmm.
kind of figure out my scheme, which is always the most fun model. Just to like play and be like, I don't really like that green. Let me try this green instead, and just kind of
Hmm.
figure it out. And normally, outside of like my Daughters of Cain army, I usually keep the palette very limited, just to make it simple. If I want to add more to it. For some
Hmm.
reason, this palette is bigger than my Daughters of Cain one. I just like I want this green here and this green here and this and this and this and like little things. Like it's not a hard paint scheme. It's just a
Hmm.
lot. Um,
Yeah,
so I got that first hero done. I'm working. I have 20 steel helms in the army, so I'm almost done with them. Actually, it's still work in progress. I'm not sure if it'll show up okay, but we're getting there. Nope, that's not looking good at all because I have a shitty camera. But hey, you know what? It's green. We can see it.
it's it's green. It's painted. We can see that it's painted.
Yeah, so I'll have those done probably tomorrow because I'm also doing the decals for the city symbol because I cannot freehand that. Um, I'm trying to think what else I did. There's something else in my hobby in my head. Oh, I'm drawing blanks on this. You know what? That's why I record everything, take pictures, put it up all on social media so we can do it live on a recorded podcast.
Look at him go.
Oh, uh,
Talk amongst yourselves.
yeah, I was like, I took some of those dark elves that John sent, painted up for my own army. Um, some for Sigmar, some for fantasy, so that was fun.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, after that it was gaming. So I got in my first game for the Empires of Gyran hex map campaign for the PA crew. We met up.
Mhm.
Alex Fithammer is running it for us here as far as like he's taking charge. He's doing a great job.
Mhm.
We're at the Barn Owls Club where we meet weekly. We're going to host it monthly, all that fun stuff. So we chose our maps, went through. Uh, it's a good time. Got our first games in. Uh, Actually, it's exciting. I am next to a club member Brandon and his Zinch army. Like I was like, boom, put me in the corner. I want as few people around me as possible.
Mhm.
I went into this with the mindset of like, what would Cities of Sigmar do? It'd be very defensive and slowly grow out. Like
Mhm.
I'm here, solid foundation, build up. Okay, go here, build up, and just kind of like do that style. So it's gonna be slow, but that's how I want to do it. That's how I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna treat it as a narrative thing.
Mhm.
And Brandon is Zinch, and especially right now we're at 1K. Zinch at 1K really, really destroys cities at 1K.
Really? Like I'm surprised by that because they don't have all their toys.
No, but the thing is, they just and the reason I know this is because we did a practice AOS game the week before to get him in the groove of it, and it was literally our two
Mhm.
armies fought. And I was just like, oh no, he's next to me. Well, it's because like I think he took the sub faction that gives his flame attacks are like extra rend. And then he's got 2 units of horrors, so split and split again. It's just like I can do okay. I added in some cavaliers and switched a few things out, but it's
Mhm.
not an easy fight for me. Um,
Mhm.
but as we're doing that, I noticed him and I were both just kind of creating this nice little neutral set of hexes right between our two things, and in the middle of it was a realm gate. So it's like, okay, well, we started running out of space. It's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna take the realm gate. Take the one around the realm gate, and he took around the realm gate, and we both decided without really talking without talking, we just both left the realm gate. None of us took it. We took everything else, and we didn't touch each other. And the narrative is, I don't know he's Zinch because of his illusion magic. I just think he's another city, and that's so
Uh-huh.
we're working together in the time being, even though like his goal is to destroy me, or just destroy order. But we have a truce going, and we were both respecting it. And the first game was friend Ben and his beastmen, and his territory was right next to the realm gate on the other side of the board. So he invaded he can capture the realm gate and invaded the realm gate next to us. So we had a
uh,
three-way battle where we all fought, and literally we just destroyed him, and I turned around and left. and then and then after the fact, like, we didn't take the realm gate. We're leaving that realm gate there. We're like, anyone wants to come in, you fight both of us. That's how this is. This is our realm gate.
that's good.
Um, but it was good, and like I said, it was good motivation to get painting on this army. And I'm not rushing it. I spent a whole week on these 20 models. Neil, aren't you proud of me? I didn't do
That's
them in
nice.
20 minutes.
I didn't do it in 20 minutes. I know. I'm trying to resist the urge to just spray squigs red,
Yeah,
pick out some details, and move on. But I'm not going to do that. I'm
right.
going to do the Zenithal highlighting on, I think, the whole army,
That's
and then we'll
yep.
go from there.
Zenithal,
So,
and like I said, a
yeah.
little slap chop mixed in, but mostly just
Mhm.
doing what I want and exploring and having fun with shades of green.
Yeah,
Um,
I find I have to mix because I don't have all the speed paints, all of that, the contrast and stuff. So I have to use what I have, or I have to go to the shop and get what I don't. And so
well,
right now, we're doing what we have to do.
mine's a lot of dry brushing or just like there's a few. There's not really much contrast in my stuff. I'll have a little bit,
Mhm.
but yeah, no. Outside that, also after that game played quickly, I drove home very quickly because thankfully I live close. I was also on Warhammer Weekly. To,
Yes.
not this week, the week before, to talk about Old World with Brendan and Vince. And Vince is also excited for Old World, which I didn't think he would be, so that was kind of fun.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I that's the one piece of old world content I feel like I have not yet got to. So we'll get to that at
it's
some point.
yeah, it's actually kind of interesting right now. And it's kind of like plays into like how we do content. Like, will we do army reviews? Yes, when we get the books in hand.
Hmm.
That's just how, like the old garage style, type thing. Or
Yeah.
I kind of like. I'm more focused on the content. My favorite content right now is kind of like what we do. So Dwellers of Below are doing it. So Squarebase is kind of doing it. The people who don't have books essentially are doing it
Yeah.
this way, which is just talking around the game and the game itself. Like what's it look like
Right.
for this style of like like what are the tournaments going to look like? Are people going to try and push that 1999 plus one crap, or are we going to just do 2000 and just like be normal civilized human beings? Are we going to try 2400 points? Like, just I like talking around the game right now
Yeah.
because there's so much. I'm not saying that the content out there is bad, but like there's so much content out there of varying qualities of the rules and stuff, and I'm consuming it. So it's out there. I've consumed it. So it's refreshing when I hear people that aren't just like, and here's what this book says on page 32. It's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. That's always tough for me. I have a hard time. That's just not the way I learn, right? Like if you just talk rules at me,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the books, so right now I have to learn that way. And that's
And
I'm
it's,
looking for that content right now, but in a normal situation, I can't. I just can't. So
no.
I need to play it out. I need you to tell me what's good, but don't just read the rules at me. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to understand a lot more context, like the whole game
Mhm.
system itself. Oh, also, a
Yeah.
quick other shout out.
That's
There's,
what I'm excited to do.
yeah, another,
Is actually get some units out on a table and then start to mess with the mechanics a little bit, which I still can't do that yet. So until I get my books, so uh,
um, quick shout out before I talk about my game, because I got my first game of Old World in.
nice.
Um, there's a new podcast out that I'm really excited for. It's got some great folks on it, called Old World Charm. Friend
Mhm.
Adam from Australia is leading it up with Peter the Falcon. He's a more of he's one of those fantasy guys that both of them are. And then there's a third guy. I think his name's Danny. I don't know him well, um, but I think they were all fantasy guys who went to 40K when end times happened, and now they're coming back. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, and I think one of them got some early copies, but they're not really like they're doing a very different style. And I really enjoy their podcast so far. So check them out. I think they're only on Podbean. Actually, what I might do is take all these shout outs and just put them below so everyone can find all the fun content that I've been enjoying.
Yeah.
And that, like, kind of like my must listen to type shows.
Yep.
With
I'm,
Strength Hammer
I
being
stick
the
to
number one.
right now. I'm sticking to square based face hammer and Great Book of Grudges is what I listen to a lot. So
Yeah, like I said, it depends on what kind of content you want.
mhm.
But regardless, Yeah, so I got my first game of Old World in at the club day. I
And
took
you
my
played, let's get Tomb Kings.
actually no. So we all know like we it was 2,000 points. I was like, boom, 2,000 points. Let's go. This is what I want. Um, we had a mixed group of folks, and like one of the one of the club members, Quentin, he's a dark elf player. He's the one that got a lot of the dark elf, extra dark elf models.
Uh-huh.
And like the two armies he has that he could field in fantasy is dark elves and ogres. Their PDFs are not out, obviously.
Yeah,
Those won't be out
sure.
till launch day here in a few days, which will be exciting because we can start reviewing those pretty quick because those will be free and in our hands.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
um, but it's like, okay, well, let's just think through this. We could probably guesstimate based upon what the high elves look like, and I know the high elves very well. I know dark elves well too. So we kind of just like I said, okay, most of my points are very similar. So don't use any of your magic items. Obviously, you just grab a neutral spell, like you use dark magic from the core lores because that's probably one you're gonna have. And let's just kind of figure it out. Like whatever kind of special things I get, you'll probably get. Yeah, we'll try and like base the units a little bit off that. And it was it perfect? No, but it felt like 2,000 on 2,000. And more importantly, is we were playing through the flow of the game. That was the goal. It
Hmm.
wasn't about
Yeah.
who won, who lost. Um, but yeah, we sat down. Probably took. I think we took probably about a little over 3 hours. We went through 4 turns before we just kind of stopped. We felt good with what we had done. Um,
Hmm.
Flow of the game, great. Uh, like I said, it's like you have to remember strategy phase to start.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. It's
That's
like
what I've been watching some battle reports, and it seems like people are like, well, I have nothing to do in my strategy phase, so we didn't show that. So,
yeah, but it's just like okay, but gotta do your rallies and all that sort of stuff. Then you get the movements. It all feels good. There was zero real issue for me because like I only brought one level 4 archmage. I had zero issues remembering when to cast my spells. I think I forgot once. I said, "Oh, I forgot to cast this conveyance spell, the walk between worlds, on this unit to give them ethereal and all that stuff." And
Mhm.
like it wasn't a unit in combat anyway. I had, so he's like, yeah, just go back, let's cast it real quick, no problem. That was the only one, and I think he had one too where he's like, oh, I forgot to do this Doom Bolt. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Let's just roll the dice. It's not that big a deal. We kind of knew where we were at, so that didn't really slow us down. Which that was one of my things. I was like, how's it going to be getting used to this? The second thing that going into it, I was like, all right, I really want to get my hands on this is the combat because the combat's very important. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, we didn't really mess around with like any counter charges yet. Neither one of us had like one of those like regimental units. We just kept it very basic to start, as far as army construction goes. And yeah, we got into combat, and for some of the rounds of combat, like thinking back on a few of the rounds of combat, we fought with supporting attacks even though we shouldn't have because we're so used to it from 8th. And other rounds of combat,
Yeah.
we didn't. But like step up wasn't really an issue to deal with. Like that, it was just like okay, stop. He killed one, so I pulled one off, and what I did is like I'd ranks of 5, like 5 by 20 or 15 guys, like 5. I'd be like okay, so I just pull from it, and I would leave it next to it, like to the same rank it was in, so I know that's the guy that died. That's the guy that died for the step up
Okay.
issue. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he'd kill a few, and then I'd fight back, and then we'd roll and see what happened. We're like okay, fall back in good order, break and flee, just all that stuff. Like it wasn't difficult. I was like, this is going to be the hard part to get my head around, and it really wasn't.
Yeah.
There will be things we'll screw up, sure. I think the hard part was when we were rolling the dice. It's like, okay, wait, which one? My leadership is this, but it's modified. I did this. Like, getting that little flow of like which of the three things happens to you in your head
Uh-huh.
is gonna be the thing that like I'll forget over and over again. Obviously, it's like you rolled above your natural leadership, you're running away. All right, what about these other two? How does that work again? So, but I don't hate it. Like that mechanic, the step up. I don't hate the fallback. I like the fallback and good order stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Game
I'm not
felt
worried about running away at all with my goblin army.
There you go.
I'm not worried about it. You know why?
Why?
Because I've got squid herds and they just explode.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, I can't wait to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, love the game. For the first game, I want to play more. I also we played club member Tom is printing the movement trays that give you
Hmm.
the extra spacing, so we don't have to rebase models yet. Because some of the guys some guys will, some guys won't. We'll all eventually have an army on the new bases because like every one of us bought the Bretonian box. Um,
Yeah,
but just for simplicity, let's just get these movement trays done and just start playing right now. That way, if someone shows up and they don't want to rebase, they don't have to. We're playing at a club. Who cares?
yeah.
Yeah, I want more. I want to play more old world, real bad.
Hmm.
I think next week we're gonna do 1,000 points, and we're just gonna rep through as many quick games as possible. Just get the flow of that down, so we're not
Yeah,
thinking about it as much.
yeah. Well, you're still gonna have probably some decently long games. Just find your way through the rules and all that. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean it was fun. Like we were looking up, we were checking, make sure we got things right. Occasionally we screw something up, but it wasn't bad.
yeah.
The index does suck in that book.
Does it?
It's
I
not.
thought, yeah, Sam was talking about it being a pretty good, handy
Yeah,
little item there.
I was shocked because I heard so many other ones like were like it's not good, it's not good, and then Russ was it's a pretty good index. And I was like, you're the only one, but I trust your opinion a lot.
Yeah,
But having my hand on the book and using it in the game it's
not so good. Yeah.
it's not the best
Huh.
index I've ever seen. Um,
Okay.
Part of it is also a little bit of new terminology, a little
Okay.
bit, but still. Anyway, we'll be fine. We'll have that book memorized in no time, right, Neil?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be busting through that.
Yeah, and then the only other thing outside of that is I decided to start putting together a list of the high elf models I want for up to 2,400 points of games. So I have a 2,000 point list and a 2,400 point list. And it's literally just like, it's more of a narrative feel. I'm like, okay, I'm a high elf. It's Terathi. She's from Illyria. So she's like a banner of Illyrian. I got 2 units of Illyrian Reavers, just like all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have any Phoenixes yet. I don't have any dragons yet. This is an expeditionary force, so I have Lothran. I Lothran Seaguard. I think there's some archers or spearmen, maybe. The Reavers. I do have some dragon princes because I got this lovely box as a Christmas gift.
Mhm.
Um, a bolt thrower, sword masters because sword masters are great in
Oh,
my
really?
opinion. I love them. Um,
They still have two attacks apiece.
No, but they're great swords are great swords without being great swords. And
Oh my
they,
God, really? So
yeah,
they don't hit it always strikes last, huh?
right. They don't get that always strikes last. So
Now,
they're,
do they have like an always strikes first, always strike last cancel out thing, or what?
no, no. So the way always strikes first and always strikes last works in this game now is if you have always strikes first, which high or elf heroes have it from what I've seen. It's not army wide. Like
Okay.
all high elves have +1 initiative in the first round of combat. That's great. Um,
Mhm.
but if you have always strikes first, then combat begins. Your initiative is set to 10, and then you apply modifiers, plus or minus.
Okay.
If you've always strikes last, your initiative is set to 1, then apply modifiers, plus or minus. So even say, like, I have white lions in there too, because white lions are just cool. Um, they're always strikes last, so they're initiative 1. First round of combat, they're initiative 2. Okay, say I charged and I was over 3 inches away and I made it, I get that +3. So even though they're great weapons, always strikes last, it's like 1, then add another 1, then add 3 more. I'm swinging initiative 5, which could still be pretty good.
Yeah.
You just don't want to ever be charged with that unit because then you're like, well, probably get get swung on first. So they have high weapon skill. It's all fun, and it's I think we're going to continue to have that battle of which one do you like in the high elf army, Phoenix Guard, Sword Masters, or White Lions.
Yeah. Well,
uh,
and that's good. So, I mean, there will be something that emerges as the best choice, of course,
it's
because
the early one just feels like Sword Masters to me. Phoenix Guard though they don't have a 4-up ward, but they have a 6-up ward against non-magical. But their halberds give them the supporting rank, so they will get more attacks. They are
gotcha.
and they cause fear, so there's room for them. Obviously, White Lions are super strong, so like, and they weren't bad. So But regardless, I'm way off base. We'll dive into that when we get there. Like I said, I've been listening to so much content and stuff. But I said I did a very narrative look at my army, what would have been brought over on a couple boats.
Yeah.
That's how I did it. Um,
What I'm gonna have to get used to with list. Well, do we want to get into list building right
well,
now, or we
yeah, we can because like the reason I mentioned it is because someone who has a bunch of high elf stuff. I was like, hey, here's what I'm looking for out of what I'm not going to rebase from my army because I want to do a fresh army, new bases, and leave my old stuff on the old bases. I said,
yeah
here's what it is, and I've bought stuff off him before. He's very reasonable in price. He's not trying to scalp. He's just trying to,
mhm,
and like he knows the love and care. He's happy to like that sort of stuff. So I said, here's what I'm looking
yeah
for out of this stuff. Tell me what you have, um, and let me know what the price would be for the whole thing, and we'll take that one step at a time. Obviously, I got to have the funds and be within the budget and all that stuff. So, but we'll see.
sure
It's not a
yeah
rush because I can use my old armies or old models right now with the movement trace.
yeah absolutely. But yeah, what I'm gonna have to get used to list building with you talking about initiative and all that kind of stuff. Russ put out a show on command groups, the
Yep,
champions,
yep.
standard bearers, musicians,
Listen to that
is
today.
just not defaulting to all three, and actually considering what I need in the unit, and what I don't.
You're okay.
Ages past.
You were a default to all three. I never was because
Ages past. I just what that looks cool, so it all goes in there. So
that's fair.
I always felt like it was cheap enough. So and with high elf, what are you getting? One more spearman, I mean, for the
It's
upgrades.
yeah. I mean, well, I always looked at it like, okay, if I'm bringing Phoenix Guards, Sword Masters, or White Lions and High Elves, I'm usually bringing a substantial amount. If it's five Sword Masters, there's nothing in them. It's just five Sword Masters. But if I'm bringing
Yeah,
15 to 20, full command immediately. And
yeah,
then on my core choices, where I was just like, okay, well, I don't need a champion in the archers, but I'll probably take a musician. I could take a banner possibly too. Reavers, I'll take a musician, but I don't need a banner.
mhm,
Like it's just like
yeah,
all that sort of stuff. I was never a auto take all of it. So kudos
yeah,
to you.
yeah. I'm wondering. I'm wondering with goblins. So I've never played orcs and goblins before, and I'm wondering. I'm like, do I even put banners in these units that I'm expecting to die? Like, God, I don't want to give away points. So probably not. So
Well, it'd be interesting to see what their. I've not like I said, I've not seen any major reviews on them either, so I don't know what benefits they might get
yeah,
from
I mean,
maybe like
what is it? 50 points a banner?
yes,
25 points.
yeah, but can they take magic standards?
I mean, they could, but I'm not putting anything a magic standard on anything that's gonna die, and even a big block of goblins, it's gonna die. So
Probably. It's
depends
gonna
on
be hard.
what.
It's harder to kill it, but yeah, it's probably gonna die.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, but like okay, so list building. So obviously, if you haven't yet, there's the old world. What exactly? They actually released an app for it now too. Old world army builder or just old world builder. If you Google that, or if you like and subscribe to this channel and go check one of the recent videos, as soon as that came out, like someone like linked it in the Discord, and I was just like, give me. And I went and just did a whole video of it and built my first list live without really having the full context of the rules in my head. Um, and I was like, thank goodness, because now that this exists, every waking moment where my hands are doing nothing, they are building lists now.
Yeah.
And as soon as the app came out on my phone, even better because now I'm not connect. I don't have to be connected to the internet. I can save it all in one
Oh,
place. It's so good.
I was desperately searching for something like this. So you said there's an app that came out for it.
Yeah, actually, it is on my phone. I know I'm Android, Samsung. Um, so maybe it's not on Apple yet, but I opened up the web page to go list build, and it at the bottom it does a little flash thing. It says, "Hey, do you want to download the app for this now?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes, exactly
So
what
I
you're
don't know if
saying.
that might be a Samsung thing, and that's why it came out so quickly. But go check out. There's links to that. I'll put it in here too. But there's links to that in the previous show. Um, go use it. It's fun. It's I think that he still has it listed in beta. Or
Yeah.
he. I don't know who made it. Sorry. But it's still in beta. So when I did my video, you couldn't add a BSB. Now you can. But there's probably other things missing. Obviously, there's no points or units for the stuff that's the legacy armies because we don't have those yet. So it's just
Mhm.
stuff that they've been able to find on all the content going out there. So, but it's great and it's phenomenal and it's doing a good job.
Yeah.
It's very clean.
Hmm. It's super easy to build a list. Super easy. I
Neil's
mean, it's maybe easier than War Scroll Builder, and that's saying something.
it's as easy as War Scroll Builder was in the first version and second version of the game. Third version gets a little tight.
Yeah.
And I don't,
Okay.
Tony, I don't know how you're programming for third edition. That sounds hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like too, because like, if you're watching the video, you saw Neil shift to be perfectly straight on. I saw his face change a different color because of the web page, and he's kind of squinting, which means he's list building right now. Which means this whole show is on me at this point.
It's possible that I was looking at my list. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it. I could tell. Um,
You saw my old eyes, my old man eyes start to narrow down there. Huh?
let's go on there. Get the lore familiar in there. Give me that blazing banner. Let's go. But yeah. So all right. So we've clearly both built lists. And we're theory crafting. Even with my first list, I don't know if it's good. Also, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it.
No
I'll
idea.
expand it as I see fit. But Neil, what are you looking at? Obviously, I assume you're looking at orcs and goblins, correct? For
Yes.
list building.
Orcs and goblins first and foremost.
Okay. So what
And
are you
then
looking at?
I
How's
am.
how's that looking up?
How's it? What saying again?
How's it looking? You know, how's it building up?
It's building up nicely. So I decided to gonna go themey with the night goblins.
Okay, so 120 night
Because
goblins.
I like squigs. So I kind of want. I like the idea of fanatics. I'm not quite sure how the fanatics work yet. I can't wait to actually get these books in my hands. Um, so this list is kind of built off of something that somebody was talking about in one of the reviews, and I heard it's like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me see what I can do. So this is very similar to the list that he had talked about with some differences,
Okay.
but yeah, so we're looking pretty much full night goblins. The only thing I have in here that is not technically a night goblin unit would be the doom diver catapults. But
They're fun though. They're doom divers.
oh yeah. That's half the reason for me. Like when I take a look at like what kind of army I want to look, I have to see something in it that I enjoy.
You
So for
might.
me, like high elves, playing a high elves, I love just the perfection of the army, the thought of like these elite warriors that have been alive for thousands of years, and even like their most common troop is leagues better than any empire swordsman, right?
Yeah.
So I like that. I just like the theme of elves. I like the visuals for the elves and all that. Now contrasting that, the goblins are just they're kind of a meme type army, right?
Right.
As the word goes, but they're there for like comic relief. I mean, the thought of me launching a suicide goblin into the air with a pair of like Leonardo da Vinci wings that comes crashing down into those perfect warriors that have been alive for 1,000 years and decimating a unit of dragon princes is it's what I'm here
peak.
for.
It is. I always recall there's this one wonderful image in the Astra Militarum book for 40K, and it's some chaos, space marine. He doesn't have his helmet on. And he's just like big bolter, like full armor, just like yeah, like he's a badass. And there's just some guardsmen with like a jetpack. I forget what Casterkin. I don't. I forget what they are, but just like using the jump pack to get like extra boost to get up, and he has like a grenade in his other hand. He's like grabbing him by the collar. He's about to slam dunk this melter grenade on this 10,000-year-old warrior's head and just be like, "Get punked, bitch! I've been trained for 12 hours. Go fuck yourself."
Absolutely. And it's that kind of
Yeah.
stuff that like as you're playing sometimes I can be guilty of getting too involved in the game and too involved in the W's and the L's as
Mhm.
much as of a narrative player as I am. I think everybody has that moment. We've been raised in a competitive society, so um, but what kind of pulls me out of that at least a little bit to the point where I feel like I can be a more jolly fella playing the games is the thought of that kind of crazy ass shit. Like netters. I try to throw the net and I roll a 1 and they net myself.
Yeah,
Sure, I'm
that's
going to
always
be
good.
like, God damn it, but at the same time, that's pretty hilarious, right? I mean, you can see that happening. Like you can see the guy go, whoops,
Oh well. You're like, that's fun. And
he falls into the other guy who falls into the other guy.
you're
Who,
just the orc
now
war boss who's just laughing at it no matter what. Either you're laughing because it worked, or you're laughing because they killed themselves, and it's funny.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's just hilarious to me. I love
You
it.
you could look at the goblin or orc bolt throwers to mix some of those in because I don't think they have the ramshackle rule anymore in this game,
Yeah, I
which
actually
makes those
have.
much more useful to take.
I have thought about doing that. I thought about pulling out one of the Doom Divers, and I can almost fit in two um, bolt throwers for one Doom Diver. Because if I put, there's a bully option to put in there,
Hmm.
and I don't quite know what the bully does just yet. Like, does he give him make it easier to hit? I have no idea. So
Right,
I've been just putting it in there, assuming that I'm going to want it,
right.
and that pushes it up a little bit. It makes the bolt throwers 55, so it comes out to 110
Well,
instead of 105. So it's not an even match, but
also I think bolt throwers right now don't have to kill to pierce to the next rank. I think you hit everything in the rank and you just roll to see if you wound it. So they're a little more
yeah, you go
valuable
by
right now. Yeah,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 kind
yeah,
of thing. I
right.
think, yeah.
But regardless, how many night goblins do you have in this list that you're thinking about?
All right,
So
let's
is it?
count them up.
Yep, just read through it. Let's go.
Do you want the full army size, including squigs, or you just want the goblins?
Now, tell you what. You 2,000 point list you made.
2,000
Let's
points.
start and go through your core. We'll just do
Okay,
core.
core. We have 38 night goblin mob.
Okay.
All right, that's got netters. It's got two fanatics sitting in there, a boss, a standard bearer, and a musician. Now I'm going to look at that, see whether I want all three of those or what. But obviously, there's a space in there to make that 40,
Yep.
so we know what's going on in there. Right. So there's going to be some brothers joining. Do we want to start? Let's go back up to the heroes because the
Okay.
way night goblins work
Sure.
is you can't for every one hero that you have, you can have one of the night goblin units.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. So I have one night goblin war boss. I can have one night goblin mob. I can have one night goblin squig herd because I have that one boss. All right. Now, if I want another night goblin mob, I have to have another night goblin hero.
Okay. All right. That makes
Okay.
sense.
So
Gotcha.
there's limits on this, right?
Yeah.
So I have a night goblin war boss. He is on a giant cave squig, and he has Wallapa's one hit wonder, which I just absolutely love. It's like you get like one shot that I believe hits at strength 10,
Dear God.
and I
Wow.
don't know what the initiative is on that bad boy, but he's on a cave squig anyway, so that he should be charging in somewhere.
Hmm.
And yes, it's used once per game, and so you pick your target and you go wallop it. So
There you
that is
go.
it's amazing.
That's fun. I like it.
So I can't wait to take that thing into a steam tank or some shit like that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, that your impetuous dragon just charged me? Well, guess what? You're getting walloped.
You
Damn it,
can
oh
wallop with
boy.
one hit wonder. Now, of course, it probably only does like one wound on each one of those if he gets
No,
enough hits off,
it's
but
true.
it'll still be amazing. Then I've got a Night Goblin Oddgit, which is a level 2 wizard on foot with the Arcane Familiar. We got a Night Goblin Boss who's got a great weapon, light armor, battle standard bearer on foot, and he has Fungus Wine. We've got Night Goblin Oddgit, which is another level 2 wizard on foot. So those three foot heroes, two of them are going to go into that 40 Night Goblin mob. And then we have another 39 Night Goblin mob. One of those wizards will go in there to make that 40. So now we're up to 80. We got 80 so far.
Okay.
And then we follow that up with a Night Goblin Squig Herd, of which we've got 24 in the Squig Herd and 3 Squig Herders. Now, the other thing I have to make sure when I get my hands on the book that you don't need a certain amount of Squig Herders for a certain amount of Squigs.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know that yet. So we'll see how that goes. Um, that's a 249 point unit. The reason why those things are in the list is because they are immune to psychology. And if you're playing goblins, that's really good to have.
Especially, not to mention, at the start of this game, there's going to be a ton of Tomb Kings out there, and that whole army causes fear.
Right, right.
So,
Now, I believe they have to outnumber you
yes.
to cause
Yeah, they
fear,
have the
right?
higher unit strength and have the fear special rule. But if you have
Now,
higher,
the unit strength is based on the wounds. Is that
I think
right?
it's wounds.
Or
Yeah,
the
I think
model?
I
Okay.
think it's wounds.
Okay. So there's not going to be a lot they're afraid of at the start of the game.
Sure, that's very
These-
true. Yeah.
Some of these are pretty big. But that pretty much rounds out my core. That is, oh, geez. I think I guess it gives you what's left here, right? No, it's points available. 2, 4, 6. No, it's 955 points a core is what I got in there.
Okay, so well over the 500 needed or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But still, I mean, that makes sense for a Night Goblin army. Like,
Right.
just bodies on bodies. So I
Yep.
imagine if you ever do 2,400 points, if that's somehow where the community in the game ends up, are you going to go to the 120 on the goblins?
I certainly could.
Yep.
I
Okay.
certainly could. I probably could easily even in this list if I wanted to.
Fair.
But and I don't know. The other person's list that I kind of based this one off, he did have 3 Night Goblin mob units. I
Okay.
stopped at 2. Um, and I went 24 Night Goblin Squig Herds twice, right? So that
Okay.
was that. And then going on to special units, I got 5 Night Goblin Squig Hopper Mob. They have a hand weapon, huge gob, and they each one has a boss. They do not, I believe, have an option for they don't have an option for um, having a standard bearer or having a musician or any of that. So all they have is the boss, and that's it. They do have an option for a cavalry spear,
Okay.
which what I have does not have spears on them. So unless I just said, "Hey, these are spears," which I don't like doing, um,
Hey, you can
that's not going to
always
work. But
dive into
I
your
could,
bits box or come on over to mine. I got plenty of
yeah, I
spears.
could figure it out very easily. I could print out a couple more spear guys, chop their hands off, and all of a sudden these guys have spears,
Or
right?
just put the spear on their back.
So
Just take and glue in the back. They have them. Boom. Done.
true enough. So I believe the cavalry spears give you impact hits.
I honestly, top of my head, I don't know. I don't recall.
I think I've heard that, but
Okay.
the squig hoppers, just alone the squigs have impact hits.
Okay.
So those have impact hits. There's 4 units of those. They're only coming in at 66 points a pop.
Nice.
So I did not actually spend much at all on core. These guys are meant to be out there as just kind of
Or not much on special, you mean?
not much on special.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So they're meant to kind of be kind of chaffy type units that, if they get off a charge, by the way, they're going to hit you with impact hits, just to be annoying on the flanks, and they have to be accounted for kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also as kind of chaff units in front of my couple of rare selections. So I've got 2 Mangler squigs coming
Ooh,
in.
okay.
And then I've got the two Doom Divers, which,
Yep.
like we said, that may get switched out for
Bolt
for some
throwers.
bolt throwers. But
Yeah,
we'll
it's just because like Doom Divers are essentially stone throwers now, and just the stone throwers just aren't in the best place with this edition. I don't feel.
yes,
So
that's what it seems like.
yeah, which I mean they're still fun, they're still worthwhile, but yeah, I would probably if I was to take the army you just made, I would drop a Doom Diver for 2 bolt throwers. I think.
All right, good to know. All right, but that's that rounds it out. That's 1,996 points right there.
Very
So
good.
a lot of the beef and actually a lot of the points are in the giant goblin mobs. 239 points, 218 points in the other one, plus heroes and banners and all that kind of good stuff. So I don't know if it's any good. I have no idea. It is themed,
Yep.
so I don't know how a themed list is going to do against something that's been optimized. But right now we're in the kind of the wild west. So if there's a time to run something like this, I think probably now is the time to do
Yeah,
it.
it's so fun right now, and to be fair, every content person I've seen that has the books, just like because everyone wants to ask, well, what's good? What army's best? What's this? Because it's gamers, this is
Mhm.
what we do, and every single one of them goes, we don't know. That's the best
Yeah,
part. We have no
right.
clue. Everything looks great.
Yep.
Let's have fun. Um, and I'm enjoying that Wild West part. Now, the one thing I will say is, do you need to have any Black Orc war bosses to kind of keep the goblins in line and keep them?
The
Because like that's an old
all
type
the night
thing.
goblins have, so they all have warband. So
Okay.
they have an extra 3 to their leadership. So these goblins are leadership 8 in the night
Oh, okay.
goblin mobs.
Okay, then there you go. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure what their leadership looked like without
Yeah,
someone there that
yeah.
wasn't
So
bust the
plus,
heads or
they're all going
whatever.
to have heroes in the units. So still not, awesome, but not goblin bad.
No, no,
And then
I think eight's pretty good. That's like high elves are around 8.
so
Yeah, like
yep.
we might touch 9 on like a few things here and there.
Now as they start to lose ranks, now we have a problem, right? But
Combats
they're going
though
to be
is
pretty deep.
Combat's
So
so grindy though in this game, and like you're gonna have that huge front rank, I bet. So if you
yeah,
get if
I think we're 7 wide is what I'm doing.
yeah, that's the other fun thing. Like I'm playing 5 wide right now, but I want to try playing with 6 and even
Yeah,
7.
I'm gonna be
Um,
7 wide by 5 deep.
yeah, the problem will be with that is like if you the wider you go, the more attacks you get in that front rank because it wraps around. Um, but if you're wide enough that you can get charged by two things, you're probably screwed. You're gonna lose
Yeah,
so much. That's where's that sweet spot? I think we're gonna go beyond 5. But is it?
yeah, yeah.
I
We'll
would say
see.
it's
Like
between
it's
five
all
and
gonna be like this is where like movement and old world has always been about movement, right?
yeah.
And about setting up, you know your charges, your angles, so that if somebody charges some chaff unit, right, they've exposed their flank. You know, I don't know how like the rallies and reforms and that kind of stuff is going to work. So it'll be interesting to see how this is going to shake up. And can that night goblin mob even kill anything? I have no idea. Got some fanatics in there, but how do fanatics work? I don't know.
Yeah.
What I do know about fanatics is you can no longer pull them out of units. Like your enemy can't pull them out of your
Oh
units.
yeah, because I used to take my reavers and get to the side, and you'd have to throw them out, and then they would
Yeah,
do
I can't.
nothing.
That's nothing anymore. I choose in a strategy phase when they pop out.
I mean, that's good for the orcs goblin players.
Right. So and now a lot of the units have impetuous, so they have to charge or
Yeah,
they roll a dice and it's a 50-50 on whether they have to charge or
yeah,
not.
it's because you have impetuous, because you no longer have animosity, so impetuous
Right.
kind of replaced that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is ways to negate it within your army. I've heard, so it's not as
Yeah.
bad. It's not like my
Yeah.
dragons or my dragon princes have impetuous, and it doesn't matter. I just have impetuous, and it's just like okay, I better make sure
Mm-hmm.
I put them in the right place. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
dragon princes, I'm okay throwing 5 of them at almost anything in the game, and they'll do something.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried, but like definitely second guessing a lot of like, ooh, do I finally take like a dragon mage on a dragon? It's like I really don't want him going into combat.
Yeah, but at the same
It's
time,
still
think about
dragon.
this.
It's still dragon.
You add the wounds to them though, right?
Yeah,
And you use the dragon's armor save, right? And so it becomes a point where now a dragon mage
he is a combat
is
character.
super viable
Yeah,
in
you
this
give him an
in this
assailment
game
spell.
compared to the other.
Yeah, give him an assailment spell. He might not be too bad.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh
well,
yeah, baby. I would be very hard not to use the dragon mage if when I'm playing high elf.
it's I will get there when I get there. I said I also don't want to start since I'm kind of building this in a narrative fashion. I don't want to start with the dragon. Now, having read a lot of like the War of the Beard books with the High Elves and the Time of Legends books, it was
Mm-hmm.
very common for a dragon and like the dragon mage or dragon, lord on the dragon to fly from Uthwan to the New World like overnight, fight, and turn around and go home. Like
Huh.
it still took a long time, but the dragons had the stamina to do that, and like obviously the rider would just sleep in the saddle during the flight over the
Yeah.
ocean. Um, so I foresee one day the dragons come for aid, and I get add a dragon to this army, but like not yet, not yet. We'll see.
Gotcha.
But at least for my army. But that's a
That day will come when the first tournament happens.
exactly. Um, so no, that sounds like a good army. I'm curious to see because
I
like
have
you
no
got it
idea.
printed, so you're just gonna start painting it up soon now, right?
Yes, I got some stuff I have to do for John still.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be really hard to do since I'm so excited about this, but I have to do it, so I will
I
do it.
know, I know. I'm, I will get this city's army done because I got a Bretonian box coming, and then I got some high elves eventually.
Mm.
All right, well let me walk through my list here then. So this will be my 2,000 point version of the list because I think that's what we're gonna be playing for a while to start.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll start with my core since my core's not as attached to anything per se. 5 Valerian Reavers, 10 Elven Archers, and 20 Lothran Sea Guard because they are bananas good with their naval discipline thing. Have you seen that?
No, what is this?
Okay, so there used to be a naval discipline thing for the Lothran Sea, not Sea Guard, the leader. Oh, drawing a
Mhm.
blank on it. Sea Helm.
Yeah.
Whereas if he was in a unit, and he gave it to any unit he was in, that unit could, instead of declaring a stand and shoot, could roll on his leadership, and if passed, they could reform before the charge hit them. Which was fun because you'd have a line of Sea Guard, like 2, 3 deep, like strung out, just shooting their bows left and right. And as soon as they got
Yeah.
charged, you reformed into a deep rank, became steadfast, and you had spears and your elves.
Gotcha.
It was
Yeah.
great. So the Sea Helm, because the way the heroes work now for high elves is fun. It's kind of like you buy a lord or you buy a noble or a archmage or mage, and then you kind of make them an anointed, or you make them a lore master, or you make them a Sea Helm, or you make them whatever. So it's a very ingenious way to do it. You still have all the flavor, and how you choose those are the elven honors. Like you're an anointed of Assyrian, so now that's your elven honor. So now you're essentially an anointed, and you can join Phoenix Guard because based upon what your honor is, determines what you can be added into. For the most part. So yeah, so 20 Sea Guard. Now the Sea Guard have the naval discipline, just the Sea Guard,
Mhm.
and what it is I, I forget if you do. I don't think you don't have to do leadership now. Um, it's crazy good. You stand and shoot, and then you reform. You just get both. So
Nice.
standing and shooting, and then reforming. So and like
On
it's
that high elf ballistic skill, that's nice.
yeah.
So even at a stand and shoot, you're still hitting stuff.
So
Pretty good.
yeah. So I love them. They're gonna be crazy cool. So like and then the 10 archers just I needed the points. I'll honestly I'll probably drop them for Alarian Reavers, probably 2 units of Alarian Reavers, because it fits the theme of my army a little bit better. Anyway, on the heroes at this point level, I have an Archmage, level 4. Gave it the lore familiar so I could choose his spells. And I made him Sea Guard, so he could join the Sea Helms. So because they're just standing back and shooting anyway,
Mm.
but they're okay getting up close and personal if they need to because of their size. So like and obviously I went with high magic. It's typically what I'll stick with that to start. Noble, which is Terathi. She's my battle standard bearer. Has the armor of Calidor. She's a warden of Safari, which means she can join swordmasters. And the banner of Illyrian, magic banner. One, it fits her theme, and two, it allows the unit that she's with to essentially move through cover or like it's. I can kind of ignore terrain stuff a little bit. I don't know if that's the
Uh,
best one. Okay. It's definitely not the best one, but it's the best themed one, so I'm going to take it. And I'm going. It's my Kraith. This is my new Kraith. This stupid banner.
it gives you some nice movement.
Yes.
I mean, here's the thing too. So, I really hope what we see, and I know what I will be pushing and everything is having now come from Age of Sigmar and seeing beautiful tables with beautiful terrain. I swear to God, if I see a house, a tower, something that's supposed to be woods, and one hill, and that's on your 6x4,
Yep.
I'm gonna freak out. People, let's please get some terrain on the board that actually force us to kind of move a little bit. And I know it can't be and it shouldn't be as saturated as AOS. I don't expect that.
No.
But something to actually have to think about and maneuver through, because the terrain actually has rules
Yes. Good rules. It
and
has
should
good
be
rules.
considered. Yeah, and we should be playing with them.
Yes, and not
So
to mention,
there's
like
my
I told the local club, I'm like, hey, we need to make sure we get our tables set in a proper way, and use
Mhm.
this rules right. Because if we don't, I'm putting my high elves on the movement trays and coming over, and I'm just shooting you guys off till you guys get used to putting the terrain the way it should be. I'm like I will. There's a few chances before I just start doing this over and over again until you guys get sick of it, and it can be
Yeah,
solved. So
right.
um let's see. I also gave them the Bow of Averlorn, because it also fits the second part of the theme, which is because uh, having a handmaiden of the Everqueen with this unit as well. So I was trying to think like what would naturally come with an expeditionary force, and what might be an oddball thing. I was allowing myself one oddball thing, and that's going to be the handmaiden and some Sisters of Averlorn.
Hmm.
And I would say, like, it's oddball. Like, maybe they're going to do some parlay with the Wood Elves or something. Obviously, Alariel spoilers for the video that I will be doing about the lore of the High Elves at this time. Alarielle is not the Everqueen yet. It's close. It's close, but she's
Mhm.
not yet. So, um, and I actually went back and looked into the books, the Tyrion and Teclis, and like Malak Malekith, like that those novels, that trilogy. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
what was Alarielle's mother's name? I don't know, because if you go on like Wikipedia pages and stuff or whatever, they're fantasy Warhammer fantasy Wikipedia pages. The last
Isn't she the Ever Queen that gets into it with Marathi over Malekith being the
no, so like there's so the Everqueen lineage. You see like you see the wife of a Narian, and then I
uh,
think you see the daughter, Yvraine,
mhm.
and then it's
Yeah, that's who it was, Brain,
and
yeah.
then it says an unknown series of and you don't know their names until it gets to Alariel, so you don't
Ah,
know how many there were. There probably wasn't a ton,
yeah.
but they don't name them, and even in the book, in the part where Alariel's mother's in it, which is like the first chapter or two, where she literally, spoilers, dies.
Yeah.
um, she's never named. She's just called the Everqueen. So I'm just like, okay, that's fun.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll see her get named at some point. But anyway, brought a handmaiden of the Everqueen, Horn of Aisha, which is just a fun little uh bonus to the unit she's gonna be part of. I think gives them +1 to hit and wound, which I think is in shooting and in combat for the turn once per game. So that's cool.
No,
Just
nice,
roll
yeah.
on her leadership, which I think is an 8, maybe 9. And also the Reaver Bow, because God forbid I don't try to force that thing into every high elf list I've ever done, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
So that's my characters. Um, I did my core special 20 sword masters. I don't know if 20 is the right number. Um, might be more. It's definitely not less. um, they're great. I love them. They're the big shinies right now, so I'm going for it. Also grabbed 15 white lions because I always thought they're just fun. They would go around, they would do stuff. And
Mhm.
then the 5 dragon princes because one, I have the box. Two, I think it's funny that these dragon princes like would be coming, like they'd be sailing on the boat, and like their horses would be pissed, they'd be pissed, they wouldn't know what's going on for like the travel over. It makes me laugh. That's why I threw them in.
Yeah.
An eagle claw bolt thrower and 10 sisters of Avalorn. And I gave them the ambusher rule. Um, but that's my 2,000 point list.
Yeah.
So it's kind of themed to like what I think would be on a ship, what would be coming over,
Mhm.
um, with like I said, that one oddity of the uh, handmaiden and the sisters of Avalorn. So
It
that's
sounds better than mine. And maybe that's because I know high elves much better. It sounds much better.
it's quality attacks, that's for sure. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna run with, and then from there I'm going to grow the army. Like I said, I'm probably gonna aim to get like 2,400 points, which honestly is just gonna be more of that stuff I just listed. Um,
Yeah.
more white lions, more sisters, maybe some archers and some other stuff. Add a second mage. It's like a level 2 or something.
Mhm.
That's what I'm gonna be going with, I think, for my first set of lists. And like I said, I'll grow from there. At some point, the dragons will come, and I'll be like, hey, the reinforcements from the Shrine of Asurian. I get like a block of 15 Phoenix Guard, and maybe a Frostheart Phoenix comes too, and just fun stuff like that. Like it seems like a just a more enjoyable time with how I want to
Yeah.
build this army.
Yeah. It's fun being in early days
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing. I My hope for these for the journals
Yeah.
is that it gives you enough other options to kind of want to run a different list. The one thing I've always been fearful of, and if you know anything about my history, is I was a garage Warhammer fantasy player.
Mm-hmm.
I was a basement player,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I did not go to tournaments. And when I started kind of getting a little bit older and having a little bit more disposable income and building my army up a little bit more and starting to think about it, What I noticed was in old fantasy, if you played a dark elf army, you played X army. Period. End of story.
Right.
That's what you played. And if you went to a tournament and you played dark elves and you somehow got drawn with 5 dark elf armies, you played the same dark elf
List
army
over and over and over.
5 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I really hope that this edition, I know there's going to be things that pop out. I know there's going to be medalists. Of course there are.
Yeah.
But I hope something is in the rules that's going to help us to kind of put some different stuff together out there within the meta. Otherwise, it's just that gets real boring to me real fast. Real fast.
The fun thing, just from all the content I consumed, and like I said, grain of salt, early days. I have not seen anyone mention it, and even just from like hearing the rules over and over again, as far as like items and units, I've seen people have favorites of things, like even with the high elves. Um, there's some people are like me, like sword masters are great. Let's go sword masters. Other people are like, you're missing out on Phoenix Guard. You don't even know what these halberds can do. And other people are like, no, white lions are still great. Like
Yeah.
like I have, and nothing seems like an auto take other than, okay, I'm playing elves, take a mage. That's my auto take. But how I build that mage is going to be very unique and different. It doesn't have to be this and this and this. So I don't see the auto includes yet. Like they're not stand out. Like, and like, so this game, there's still a lot of similarities between the old editions. So like, it's not like the knowledge we have in our head from that stuff is useless. But like, Sigmar, you can hand me the Daughter's Cane book. I'll tell you exactly what to take.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe there's 2 lists. And with the Arcane Journals, that's going to be fun to do deep dives on that with you, Neil, because it feels like it's options, but it's not must-take options. It's must-take if, like, oh, I want to take Cetra in a Chariot style list, I have to take his thing. But that doesn't mean it's bonkers good. It might just be okay. It's just like, okay, you can take the other version of the Tomb King's army and you're perfectly fine. And they seem more narrative inspired than power inspired. So I have hope that they're just all going to be like that.
Yeah. But
yeah, that's the fear too. Like that's a fun thing. Like as tournaments come out, there's going to be people trying different comp. Like I know the Square Base GT is going to be doing 2,000 points, and you can't take more than 3 of the same units. Like it's gonna be wild, and people are gonna try all the comp in the world to start, which is fine. Because there should be people that try the 1999 points. There should be people that try the 2,000 points. People that try to limit units. People that don't limit units. My biggest fear is that we ever get to a point, at least for a comp, where they're just like, okay, you can't take Arcane Journals. That would suck.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've said it before, like that might be the easiest way if they're too overpowered compared to, like, say, the Legacy Army stuff. Now, I've heard from all the rumors that the Legacy Army PDFs are going to be just as robust as what's in the Forces of Fantasy and Ravening Hordes. Obviously, they won't ever get their Arcane Journal, but they'll be viable to play at any event that's not a GW event, I guess, apparently. We'll change. We will find a way to change that. Hopefully,
I know. Adepticon is allowing everything.
Everyone's allowing it. The only one that said that aren't is technically Games Workshop. And to be fair, we could just run narrative events at Games Workshop and allow them and have fun.
There you go.
We'll see. I don't know. That's all outside the scope of what I would know or be able to influence, but that would be my hope. Because I think all of them should be viable. Regardless, that's different topic for another day. So yeah, I'm obsessed with list building. It's only gonna get worse whenever I get my fill of high elves and I can go, ooh, let me build a dwarf army now. Ooh, let me build my wood elf army now. Ooh, let me build my dark elf army now, because that's my a Tomb Kings. I could do a Tomb Kings army. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy. And then I'm buying Bertetti. It's a wild world right now, Neo. I love it.
It's exciting is what it is, and I think it's what was needed at the time. The old world is the hero that we needed. And for me, it was the hero that I didn't know that I needed until I played 8th edition with you last year. And because if you recall, I had no interest in this 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
none,
kicking and screaming. You came back in,
and but now with 3rd edition AOS where it is, not my fave.
Yep.
and I think I've spoken on that before. Still love it. Still going to a tournament in 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Yeah, Brewhammer, right?
and
Yeah.
yeah, Brewhammer's coming up. But I'm not super excited about it. I'm super excited about all the people that I get to see, but the actual Warhammer playing, I'm not super excited about. Um, Narrative, I still love AOS narrative, right? I
Yep.
mean, if
Oh
you
yeah.
pull battle tactics out and you let me run wild with it, I love it. But 40K from everything that I hear is a little bit of grumbling from that side of things. I have a 40K
Yeah.
army. I haven't even thought about
I
touching 10th.
I have a couple
And
40k armies. It just feels like it's lacking flavor. I have no complaints
yeah,
about how the game flows. The games I've
yeah,
played. I put down my Yanari and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm playing Yanari. I feel like I'm just playing models.
yeah,
That's my not great, but that's what takes me out of that game right now. And I'm
yeah.
curious too because as you know, and probably some of our audience knows that Neil, you and I came across. We went through the end times. We went into Sigmar. We did our stuff,
Hmm.
and we had a great time, and we love it. Sigmar's still great, and we're happy to get back in the old world. But
Yep.
I think the majority of the folks, well, there was 3 ways to go. You either stop playing, or no, 4 ways to go. You stopped playing,
Hmm.
you made Ninth Age, you played Sigmar, or you played 40k. And I
Yeah.
think that the majority either stopped playing or played 40k. I think we were
Yeah.
probably like that
That's
third, and then the people who made Ninth Age was obviously the smaller community. Um, yeah. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But I think with 40k right now being kind of in the state it is in, which I think it's still. I mean, we're this is releasing LVO weekend, so there's going to be 1,000 person 40k tournament happening. So it's not a dead game, but I
Oh, no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying.
right,
Like
but
I said, like in my we were having a discussion earlier on one of my chats, but like my local shop, when they're playing pickup games right now,
mhm.
that's they're kind of shying away from that for like and looking for anything else that's
what
interesting at the moment.
what's what I think? I
You
think a lot
know.
of those 40k players who came from fantasy
Mhm.
are going to be like, well, 40k is not a great place right now for me personally. Are going to come back to old world, so it's going to be a fun influx that we're going to see here.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be huge. I am anxious to see a summer old world event, like big GT style old world event, and where will we be by like summer? I think it's going to be huge. I think you're talking about hundreds.
Yeah. Well,
In 6 months' time to build your army, time to paint your army. I think it's going to be real big.
yep. And it's don't forget too. This Saturday is the release of the game system officially. So we'll start getting our books. Um,
Mhm.
they're doing a big event at Warhammer World for the release. The Warhammer stores are doing their events too. I'm going to try to go up with my clubmate Tom to ours because I think you get to paint a Bretonian model. Maybe I'll pick up a Bretonian BSB or something along the way too. Um, but yeah, so and they also said that they're going to be announcing something on the 20th, probably via Warcom article. Um, yeah, like I, we'll see what that is, like showing something new, which is great because like tonight at the actually yeah tonight, so this will be post the LVO reveal show. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
do a separate show on that, or we'll just talk about it on the next podcast. But yeah, that will be uh that'll be post that. So regardless, there's gonna be lots of reveals coming up, but we're getting Old World one separate from the LVO one on the 20th. So um, yeah, that's it. I feel like I'm rambling now, so we should probably just wrap it up. I'm excited. I
yeah,
want to keep list building. Um, I'm curious to see where we end up, and I'm curious to see if the person I might be buying these high elves off of starts working on a price for me. And I hope it's
we need to
no.
definitely get back to all the listeners and let them know how our first game with said lists go.
Uh, but I say, yeah, yeah. Well, let's say first couple because like I technically had my first game, but it was a learning focus
Oh,
more than
sure,
anything else.
sure.
But like yeah, that
Yeah,
first game where it's like all right, I'm comfortable, you're comfortable. Let's see
yeah,
who wins. Yeah,
yeah,
start taking those trophies again. But okay,
yeah.
anybody else or anything out there that you want to shout out, Neil, before we head out?
No, I think I'm good.
All right,
So Brewhammer's coming up. So look for updates on that.
cool. Make sure you like and subscribe. And until next time, everybody, happy hobbying and stay Stormcast strong.